Okay, in this video we're going to be exploring the ramjet engine, both as a terrestrial method of propulsion and for interstellar travel. Before we get on with the video, by the way, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. Right, so on we go. Okay, so the ramjet is an air-breathing jet engine. It uses the forward motion of the aircraft to compress air entering the engine without need for a compressor of some kind. Ramjets can operate at speeds up to Mach 6, but obviously cannot move aircraft starting from stationary, so aircraft using ramjets require some other form of propulsion in order to take off. The interstellar ramjet, also sometimes called the Bussard ramjet, after physicist Robert Bussard, who initially proposed it as a theoretical method of spacecraft propulsion in 1960. Bussard's idea centered around a ramjet variant of a fusion rocket that would use large electromagnetic fields, these would be up to many thousands of kilometers in diameter, as a scoop of sorts that would collect and compress hydrogen. This would operate at high speeds, and hydrogen would be forced into progressively constricting magnetic field that would compress it until thermonuclear fusion occurred. The released energy would then be directed as exhaust to accelerate and propel the spacecraft. If this ramjet could work, then trips to the nearest stars would only take us years. However, a long time would have passed on Earth during these trips due to the time dilation effect that we did mention briefly in our last video. I might cover time dilation in further detail in a future video if you guys would be interested. Let me know. Anyway, back on topic. I said if the ramjet could work because it does have a few things holding it back from being feasible. Firstly, to be travelling fast enough to scoop sufficient hydrogen initially, the spacecraft, just like terrestrial aircraft, would need another method of propulsion to get it going. A certain abundance of hydrogen within the interstellar medium would also be required and could be difficult to find in some areas. Though by far and away the biggest problem would lie in that the drag force created by the scoop may actually exceed the thrust generated by the engine. This was determined in calculations done by Robert Zubrin and Dana Andrews, who analysed a hypothetical version of this ramjet design. They made two assumptions for these calculations. First, the exhaust velocity of the ramjet could not exceed 100,000 meters per second, and the largest available energy source would be a 500 kilowatt nuclear fusion reactor. In their calculation, the drag force was equal to the mass of the scooped ions collected per second multiplied by the velocity of the scooped ions relative to the scoop, which was assumed to be 500,000 meters per second. The thrust of the ramjet was equal to the mass of the ions expelled per second multiplied by 100,000 meters per second of the exhaust velocity. In this design and these calculations, the drag force actually exceeded the thrust of the hypothetical ramjet. So that does rather kill this idea as a method of interstellar travel currently. But while it's not feasible at the moment, interstellar ramjet does appear to still loom as kind of a great hope for interstellar travel. We'd be able to reach speeds close to the speed of light, and it would in essence open up the entire galaxy to humans. Though it does appear we are still away from that for now.